Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash, double honors to apostles of GMS, and sincere Shalom to the brothers out here pushing this truth in sincerity. Um, this is something I saw from basically a video I was basically doing yesterday, so I was like, let me screenshot it, so, because I'll just see basically more into it. But it says here that people who eat lots of ultra processed foods may be at greater risk of dying early. A study in 8 countries suggests. Now, we all know that processed food is just processed food. There's plenty of health risks to it and everything. But the fact that there's now ultra processed foods is even crazier. Well, I want to say it is crazier, but it's not, because I'm not surprised. But this goes to show you that how much of a health hazard that basically Esau wants to kill us off that badly, or for the simple fact that he's just sending out more health complications, along with more diseases, pestilence and plagues, and so all sorts of stuff that's coming out with it, right? So going into this, because now they're talking about ultra processed food may be linked to early death, which means younger people are dying compared to just regular processed food where it just made you overweight, have tons of health complications, and so on and so forth. This right here is just basically ultra death in early age. So I basically typed in what is ultra processed food, because this is my first time even hearing about this. Which we probably always been eating it all this long. It's just on steroids now. So UPFs affect health beyond individual impact of high content of critical nutrients, sodium, trans fat, and sugar. Mind you, a lot of the stuff that we eat is basically salt and sugar and fats, some fats as well. So they just hocked it up on a higher level. It says because of its changes in the foods during industrial processing and the use of artificial ingredients, including colorants, artificial flavors, and sweeteners, which and many other additives, which even the elder likes pretty much, likes to pretty much go into. Just read what's on the back of your labels all the time, whether it be on your ketchup, your other foods, even frozen foods. They'll tell you what's all in it. It's at least some to half of the stuff you won't even really heard of, or don't even understand. Like all the different food colorings, xanthan gum, it is a whole lot more to it. So whatever in these ultra processed foods is times 100. So there was something I want to look at here. I mean, this is a good one to look at, but these are basically, oh, here it is. But these are all basically the things that we could look up ourselves. Um, Ultra processed foods linked to over 124,000 premature deaths in the U.S. Mind you, that's in the U.S., but that's still a lot. Which means the things that these people like getting, like food comas and all this other stuff, people are dying early behind it. So now I typed in why did the FDA approve this? Of course, we all know they just want us to get sick. But it says here the FDA approves ultra processed foods because it does not require a pre-market approval for foods themselves, but does regulate additives, ingredients, including considered generally recognized as safe, GRAS. However, a loophole in GRAS system allows companies to self-determine safety of some ingredients without formal FDA review. So that goes to show you that no matter what business you get in, you're still going to be linked in with Esau. And a lot of these store owners basically are all in the fact that, hey, We gotta sell you as much bad stuff as possible. So even the so-called organic food you eat isn't even really all that healthy. Because the fact that it's got to be called organic, you got to makes you question what is the other stuff. The problem with organic is they use the wrong type of stuff to grow the food, claiming it's more natural when in reality it is really not. Because if you get like an organic tomato, it's going to taste like crap. Versus when you make the tomato, it actually has flavor. And I tasted the actual grown tomato. It tastes nothing like how these organics taste. That tells you a difference. So this is going to the generally recognized as safe. This is just to get to the point. So under Section 201, under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, any substance that is intentionally added to food is a food additive that is subject to pre-market review and approval of FDA. Mind you, food additives, food additives are basically like drugs when you go more into it. Basically, it says among qualified experts. It says, unless the substance is generally recognized among qualified experts as having been adequately shown to be safe under conditions of its intended use. So they don't want to scale us off that quick because it'd be too damn noticeable. But at this point, they don't really care. Now, when you go into the Cosmetic Act, they are the ones in charge for making, basically making the food look good, especially how they supposed to have it on, like commercials and stuff. Even though when you look behind that, that's just they just use random shit to make it look good. But they're the ones that's in charge for sprinkling all sorts of, additives, spices, and all sorts of stuff in there to pretty much get you sick, or to make it quote unquote taste good, to add preservatives to make it stay the color it is, like your meats. Your meat is not supposed to stay bloody and pink. It's supposed to stay. It's supposed to turn the color it is, which is like a brown, basically, because that shit it's basically that has already been cut into. So that's the difference. This is Psalms 55:21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So Esau likes to, with the FDA, or pretty much anything that he gets his hand on, he'll make it seem like this is the way to go. You should get this, you should make that, you should buy something that's affordable. Such as, if you can't afford this premium steak, which is like $10, why not just get the pork, which is like, I don't know, $3 or $4? And that's to show you how far our people's gone off, because he makes us the how financially poor we are. So we're gonna take one look at that price, and Jake is going to be like, nah, I'm going for that pork because it's cheaper. I can afford it and buy more other things. But the premium steak, he's going to say, screw that because it's too high. And that's the biggest thing with people as it is. So whole time he's feeding you the slop because it's cheaper. But the inside is killing you. This is Micah 6:12. It says, for the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. Mind you, this goes back to the other scripture, because when you bring up stuff like this to Jake, they were like, well, you still got to eat. I mean, they'll complain that everything's too high, but you'd be like, oh well, I still got to eat. I wanted my pork chops and all this other stuff. But the question is, why? why justify having to eat to make it seem like it's okay to pretty much go through all this? The lifestyle that we have is not good at all, number one. But the eating habits is another thing. That's also something that me and various other people grew up having bad diets. And so some of us are naturally big, but then we gain the bad weight that comes along with it, because while we don't have the proper nutrition, we don't have the proper balance, we're overeating, and when you eat, you still feel hungry afterwards, after a couple hours. So why justify having to eat the way we do if when you run out of this food, you still gotta go back to the market to buy the same thing over and over again? Because when you think about it, the way we eat, the way we still get hungry, we end up going back to buy stuff within, what, less than a month? We buy food that tries to hold us for a month, but it doesn't last that long. Why? Because there's no nutrition. So you wonder where all your money goes from groceries, from $500, and it's going straight to them. And then you repeat the process because you got to go to work and all this other stuff, the bills. These are all processes of things that Esau puts here, not just to set up for food, but to set up how your everyday life goes. Because you got to go to work. If you got kids, you got to drop them off to daycare/school. Then you got to pay bills. Then you got to pay for groceries. You got to pay for gas. This is all set up as one marketing scheme, and everything is always going to be at least over $20. Look at food. You want to order food? I bet you it's over $20. Go into the grocery store? It's going to be a whole lot more. You order for... So, the point is that you can't escape all this stuff that's happening, but why would you justify living here? This goes to show you that none of this stuff is how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to live. That's why the scripture says, arise, this is not your rest. And this is completely true. This isn't our rest. Right? Because none of this stuff is remotely right. So these are just one of the things to watch out for. We'll see what comes up next. So, Lord willing, this is a little edifying. With that, shalom.